So there's this quote I want to read to you real quick. And it says, I love this quote: compatibility is overrated. What's required is unity. Unity doesn't mean you're the same, it means you're together. So I've talked about this before in other videos where I don't think compatibility is the true measure of if two people should be together. Because to me, connection is the most important thing. And we can have differences and still understand how to work together in a way that creates a full unit. But I do think it's important to understand that sometimes, many times, there is a level of incompatibility that we simply cannot move past. That we're not going to be able to sustain this over the long run. Or at least what I have seen as a relationship coach is that people don't seem to conquer these hurdles. They might be able to deal with it for a short amount of time, but at some point it rears its ugly head and it blows the whole thing up. All right. So one of the first things that comes to mind that's a sign that you're just incompatible is you like them, but you want to change things about them. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about here. Because it's completely normal for us to like someone, want to be with someone, and feel like, okay, there's areas that we can improve upon, all right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I do feel that we should be trying to become better versions of ourselves. But if you are entering or trying to or considering entering into a relationship with someone who their current self is not the version that you're truly happy with, or let's even say happy enough with, that's a problem. So here's a couple examples that come to mind. I'll hear some people say, you know, if we're being real, there's a lot of men who are, or most men are visual, right? And there are men out there where, you know, how a woman looks is going to play a huge role in his interest in her and his ability to be attentive to her and faithful and all these things. All right. So anyways, I've heard some people make the argument, let's just say he's into fit women and he meets a woman who is plus size or, you know, on that side of things. And people will say, oh, well, she's a great woman. You know, you could always help her work out. Like, I don't know if y'all seen, there's these memes. I wish I had it to show y'all. There's these memes where they'll show like two people, and one typically is like very plus size, and the other one is like this, you know, Coke figure body or whatever. And then she'll have all these horrible traits. And then the plus size woman will have all these better traits, and they'll say, which one you want to pick? It's ridiculous. But anyways, the point is, they'll say, yeah, you know, you can be with her and you can help her work out. And that's horrible advice. Because one, if you are in that woman's shoes, and listen, this can go both ways. This can happen with men and women. You're in that person's shoes and you find out down the line that this person only got with you because they thought they could eventually change you into looking how they wanted you to look. Many people would be offended by that. Many people would take issue like, so you didn't love me for me. You just held on to what you hoped or thought you could make me into. That will cut deep for a lot of individuals. But then also, what happens if they don't become that? And this is the dilemma that so many people face. And I have to say it, this happens a lot to women. Again, maybe not specifically in regards to physical appearance, but in other ways that we project the potential of this individual and what you think they can become and what you are hoping to see change about them rather than accepting who they actually are. And now, when they don't become that person or they don't stick to on that path, you become frustrated. You start to pour in a negative energy whether you realize it or not, because they're not meeting the fantasy that you projected onto this situation. So coming in wanting to change someone is unhealthy and a huge sign that you guys are simply not compatible. Now, yes, you can make the argument that that person may eventually change. And if they do change and you guys cross paths, and at that time you want to move forward because now who they present themselves to be, you are happy with, cool. But you should not try to be with them at a time that they are not that, hoping and or trying to push them in that direction. That's just not good. It's very, very dysfunctional. So and this also goes both ways. So it's not just you looking at them as, well, I can change them, I can turn them into this. Pay attention to if that person is doing that to you. Are they asking you to be someone that you're just not? And again, you have to understand the difference between becoming a better version of yourself and becoming something you're not. And a lot of times that's going to be attached to how that person perceives it. Meaning, even using the weight dynamic for a second. If that woman or man does not see getting in shape as quote unquote being a better version of themselves, because some people don't connect with that. To them, it's why should it be a big deal? It shouldn't matter. I'm a good person, whatever. They will have resentment if that's what you're trying to push them to, because again, they don't see that as an upgrade to themselves. They see that as them being something they're not, and now they can't keep it up. Because if they're not into working out, if they're not into trying to eat healthy, there's going to now be resentment on their end as well for them being held to that standard that they really don't connect with. Also, it's about, again, what can you sustain? So if, let's just say you're a guy who's very homely. You love just being home, okay? And here you have this woman who likes to go out. It's important for her to get out there, and not just get out there. She wants you to be with her. If you try to accommodate this in the beginning, knowing damn well you cannot sustain this, we have a problem. This is incompatibility. This is two people who just won't work in the long run, because now one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to drag yourself out with her and be resentful towards her, have an attitude, ruin the whole outing. She now is mad at you, so on and so forth. Or you're going to say, F that. I was doing it in the beginning to get her, but I'm not doing this anymore. Now she's mad at you. She's frustrated. Either way, it blows up in your face. There are some people who will see the balance of extrovert and introvert as a good thing. They can come together and work together on that. They don't see that man in that scenario, in a different example, may not see her push to get him out the house as bad. It's like, okay, I like that she does that because I don't want to have to be home all the time, but maybe you're not an initiator of going out. You see what I'm saying? There are ways that it can work, but when you understand and know that's just not you, that is a sign of incompatibility, and that is a sign this is not going to work. Now let's get to number 2. And that is the second sign you're not compatible with someone is you're not attracted to them enough, or you're not truly attracted to them. Now, why do I have to say it like that? Because believe it or not, and some of you will believe it because you're living it, many people are trying to have or have tried to have relationships with individuals they're not really attracted to. And I say really to highlight that maybe you may say they're not a bad looking person, but you're not drawn to them like that. You're not attracted to them like that, all right? Because attraction isn't about looks. I can see a woman and say that woman is beautiful, but she doesn't do it for me. You see what I'm saying? I'm not attracted to her like that. I'm not drawn to her like that. But I can recognize that she's fine and she's highly desirable by many men. And again, and the same thing happens with women. So you have to be honest with yourself about, okay, are you genuinely attracted to them? And if you are not, that is a problem. When we don't have let me say this. First, we have to understand the main, you could say the last ingredient that takes a platonic relationship to romantic is attraction. All right. When two people get along, enjoy each other's presence, can talk to each other, but they are not willing to have a relationship with each other, in other than deeper issues and a fear of crossing the line of friendship, it typically stems from they are not attracted to each other. So you have to understand that when you leave that out of the romantic dynamic, you severely hinder the ability to have success in the long run. And again, it isn't what you can handle today, because some of you may say, well, right now that's not important to me. I'm cool with that. All right, but can you keep that up for years to come? Hell, for even months for some of y'all. All right? And keep it up isn't simply can you tolerate it? Because yes, there are a lot of people in relationships where they tolerate a lack of attraction. But can you keep it up in the sense of, can you pour into your partner the way that they need you to in order to be happy and create a positive, loving environment? Can you be as affectionate with them? Can you be as respectful to them? And I have to say respectful because I'm going to keep it real with y'all. When attraction's not there, respect can go out the window. This may sound horrible, but some people, their mentality is like, you ain't cute enough to talk to me like that. you lucky I'm even here. Okay, how dare you? How dare you come at me like that when you look like listen, that's just how some people are thinking. I'm not telling you that's right. I'm telling you this is what happens. So respect, affection, communicate, all these things there's a correlation between the attraction and how those things are upheld in a relationship. So if you don't have enough attraction there, then yes, that is incompatibility. That is a relationship that's not going to survive, and it's best that you do not move forward with this person. And let me just say this real quick before I move on to the next point. I understand there's some scenarios where people will say, well, can't you grow to become attracted? I do think it is possible for two people to meet and initially there wasn't that attraction. But at some point attraction came about and now it's there. So my only argument in that is this. Do not get with them while it's not there, hoping for it to eventually come. Because if it doesn't, we got a huge mess on our hands. But if you meet, it's not there, so you don't move forward with that, maybe your friends, whatever, acquaintances, and in time it happens naturally for various reasons, then okay, you can move forward because now it's there. But you don't ignore the fact that it's missing and say, I'm just going to try to make it work in the meantime. Now, the third sign you're not compatible with someone is that your differences bring conflict and not balance. So going back to the example I gave earlier of the man who doesn't like going out and the woman who loves going out. There are some people, like I said, where they may see a balance in that. She may see an advantage or a good thing in the fact that he helps her learn how to just relax and be home. He sees it as, okay, but she gets me out the house, and they love the balance. They're able to come together. And the ingredient that will allow that to not clash is connection, which is why I believe connection is the bigger, it's where the focus should be on, not simply compatibility. Connection is where it's at because that's what really allows two people to work together and see the beauty in their differences. But when those differences are clashing and causing problems, and again, it can vary in so many different ways. The example I gave, how we want to raise our family if we were to have one. Hell, what we even want in life. Do we even want the same things? I mean, shoot, if this man, and to be fair, let's say if this woman doesn't want marriage and this man does, because I know it's typically said as the man is the one who doesn't want it. Sometimes it's the woman who may be saying she doesn't want marriage. Either way, this is going to cause a clash at some point. This is not a difference that can be reconciled, all right? What's happening in many situations is that someone in there is convincing themselves that the other person will come around to their way of thinking, all right? But not accepting that, no, if we're not on the same page now, we should not move forward thinking that it'll change later. No, it needs to change before we move forward. But again, keeping your eye on, are we clashing or are we finding harmony in it? Do the differences annoy you? So for another example that's popping in my head, let's just say, and this may sound like something really simple and stupid, but it happens, okay? Let's just say the type of music they listen to gets on your damn nerves, all right? You don't like it. And again, Some may say, okay, big deal. No, or no big deal. You know, you just, when they're listening to it, they can put their headphones on. True. But I've seen situations where the type of music they enjoy makes you look at them a different way. It creates a different perception of them and a different energy in the relationship, because it's not even just, I don't like that music. It's, how could you listen to that? What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like it might even disgust you depending on what it is. This is a conflict. This is not something that can be resolved. And again, it may start off as something what may be perceived as small, but then it now carries over into other aspects of the relationship and creates more division. Because if now, let's just say, again, it may sound extreme, but it disgusts you the type of music that they listen to. Now you start looking at them funny because they do this and they do that. You're quicker to scrutinize the different things because it started with that one thing that turned you off, so to speak. All right. So again, when the differences create conflict, and we're not able to find a balance in them, that is a huge sign of incompatibility. All right, so moving along to number 4, and this is actually one of those differences that can create a huge conflict. You just don't get each other. Or maybe we can say you just don't understand each other. Now, some people, I remember hearing a quote, and I might be saying it wrong, so I guess I'm paraphrasing it. In regards to women, they say women are not to be understood, they're just to be loved. All right? And though it sounds sweet and nice, my counter argument is, but if you don't understand her, how do you love her properly? All right? Your gestures are kind of empty if you're just doing them robotically without an understanding of how this pours into her, how this connects to her or speaks to her heart. All right? And vice versa. Same way with the man. And we have to realize that understanding or getting our partner doesn't mean we see it how they see it, all right? It doesn't even mean that we necessarily always agree with it. But it does mean I understand why someone chooses to do something even though I wouldn't do it. But I get why they made that choice. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times understanding someone is really about allowing ourselves to be more empathetic, be more compassionate, be more patient, be willing to put ourselves in their shoes and allow ourselves to see things from different perspectives. Now, again, this is something that I believe can happen or tends to happen when we have a connection. We are much more willing to gain an understanding of their position on things because that connection, that love, that draw to them makes us want to even understand. When we don't have that, we're more self-absorbed. We're more about, well, if I don't see it this way, then it's wrong. If it doesn't make sense to me, then it's stupid. You know what I'm saying? And now we find ourselves, whether we realize it or not, dismissing and devaluing our partner. And that's the thing. When there is a lack of understanding, there's a very high chance of devaluing, dismissing, and not being able to sustain the behaviors and the things that they need from us in the relationship. Because if it doesn't make any sense to us to the point where we just don't get it, then we're going to be less motivated to keep it up or just less willing to. So it's important that if we are going to identify a level of compatibility here or an ability to move forward in a healthy, successful relationship, we've got to come to an understanding of each other and embracing of each other's needs, desires, perceptions, so that we can live in harmony with each other, being in alignment with each other, and experience an amazing relationship with each other. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. I pray you receive the person who is truly best for you. I want you to get all the blessings God has waiting for you. And so my hope when I do these videos is to make sure that you are not just prepared